Hey guys, TGKS Productions. In this video, I'm going to be bringing you a top 5 items and tips for GTA Online sales, and this is the Art of Selling series.
Welcome to Los Santos.
So as stated, this is the second video or installment in the Art of Selling series. I talked about this series once again in the first video, but also originally in my surpassing $600 million video. Once again, this is one of my future plans that I wanted to carry out for this channel. Again, I've been involved with thousands of sales in GTA Online over the years. I have a lot of experience with the sales, and considering that a lot of the money that players make comes from the dependency of these GTA Online businesses and sales, I wanted to share my experience that I've learned over the years to try to give all players in GTA Online, whether you're a beginner or an advanced player, a higher chance of success with the sales. And given the fact that whether you're a beginner or advanced player, certain tips or items as far as the series goes, and even with this video, everything might not be beneficial to a more advanced player. But again, the purpose of this series is that no matter what kind of player you are, no matter when you started, everybody can benefit from this series as a whole. That is the ultimate purpose. Now, getting into this video, as I stated, I'm going to be giving you a top 5 items and tips that you should have in every GTA Online sale, as far as your defense is concerned, and the success of that sale, improving the success or your chance of success with the sale. Now, the first item I have on this list here, probably the most basic one. Throughout this series, I'll be referencing. I talked about this item in my How to Prepare for Sale video, the first video of this series. And throughout this series, I will be referencing, obviously, back to the other videos, just because this series is going to go together. As far as the series as a whole is concerned. So you'll see you'll hear me probably referencing back to videos here and there, but I talked about the importance of the first item I'm going to talk about in this list in my first video, and that is snacks and armor. So snacks and armor are very essential in sales, not even just in sales, but pretty much every activity in GTA Online. If you're doing a heist, contact mission, VIP work, whatever it is, snacks and armor are extremely essential. Snacks, I would say, more importantly over the armor, because your health drains a lot slower than the armor does. So, and obviously snacks refills your health. Your armor drains a lot quicker, and even the strongest armor in the game, the super heavy armor, drains very quickly, and it takes a lot less damage than your health does. So snacks are definitely more important over the armor, but having both are definitely beneficial. Like I said, I'm not going to spend too much time on this, just because I really did touch on the importance in the How to Prepare for Sale video. Essentially, in the case you're getting shot up by NPCs or even by another player, the whole point of snacks and armor is to obviously regenerate your health so that you're not killed in the sale and then spawning away from your sale vehicle, obviously giving a player an open chance to destroy your vehicle. So that's the whole purpose of that. Like I said, I talked about and even gave an example in the How to Prepare for Sale video, but definitely snacks and armor are very important to have in sales. The second item that I recommend for GTA Online sales is explosive rounds. Now, unfortunately, with the explosive rounds, you do need to own a bunker for this, which is one of the business properties, and you are going to have a staff working on research, and you're going to have to research this item. With the research items, unfortunately, they're arbitrarily researched, so you don't know what item you're going to research. Explosive rounds could be one of the first items you research, could be one of the last items you research. You don't really know, so that is one downside. You also need to own something like a MOC, a Terabyte, or an Avenger. I believe even the Arena Workshop property also has the Weapon Workshop, which is where you upgrade your weapons to MK2, which is how you are able to apply the ammo type of explosive rounds. Basically, the heavy sniper and the pump shotgun MK2 versions can hold explosive rounds. Fortunately, like I said, you do need to own a lot of things in order to apply it is a little bit of a process to get the explosive rounds. Fortunately, as you'll see, and I'll explain more as we go through the series, but the explosive rounds, or as far as the bunker is concerned, the bunker is one of the first, among the first couple businesses or properties that I recommend a player to get. So that is one, I guess, positive side. So by the time you start getting into the more complex sales with the other businesses, you will likely have explosive rounds, or at least be close to getting explosive rounds. So there's definitely, I would say, a pro or a positive side to being able to acquire explosive rounds to be able to use as a defense. And I name them as a second line of defense in a sale, and I'll talk about more of what is the second line of defense and what is a first line of defense as we go later on in this video. But I recognize this is a second line of defense, but by the time you start getting into those more complex sales, you will likely have explosive rounds by then. And here is actually an example of me utilizing the explosive rounds in a sale just to sort of establish their importance. I wanted to give you sort of a real example here. I was actually doing a nightclub sale. This was probably a little bit over a month ago because the snow was still out. Essentially, this guy, you'll see, he's coming at me in a jet. I was trying to angle my vehicle. I mean, I'm out in the open. I'm out in the Grand Sonora Desert, unfortunately, but I was trying to angle my vehicle in case this guy came down with the cannon rounds on me. I had made it a little bit harder for him to be able to hit me, but you'll see here, immediately got out of my vehicle and started hitting with explosive rounds. Took about 3 explosive rounds, or ammo rounds, and I was able to eliminate him, blew him up. He ended up even coming after me again in an MK2 oppressor. I was able to take him out again with the explosive rounds. So they're very beneficial. I guess in this case, I sort of use that as a first line defense. If you're dealing with the jet, you're going to want to use explosive rounds as a first line defense. Against most other, like something like an MK2 oppressor, you're going to want to use that as your second line of defense. But in any case, like I said, I was able to take him out twice with the explosive rounds. And the jet isn't really, the jet is probably the most the best thing for explosive rounds to be used for, but you can even use them against an MK2 oppressor. A lot of times, if you hit somebody in an MK2 oppressor, it'll knock them off. But they are definitely beneficial for sales. And like I said, I just want to use a real example there to just again establish their importance even more. So definitely make sure you have explosive rounds in a sale. And I guess I should also say, make sure you have an efficient amount of them when you go into a sale. I talked about that on when you're, in my how to prepare for a sale video, checking your ammo. Don't go into a sale with like 10 explosive rounds. You want to go in the sale with, pretty much being full with the explosive rounds. So make sure you're careful about that as well. The third item I recommend for GT Online sales is the Up and Atomizer. Now, the Up and Atomizer can be purchased from Ammunition. I believe it retails for about $399,000. I was fortunate enough to get this for free back in December of 2018. Rockstar did sort of a festive event where they were giving out a number of sweaters as well as the Up and Atomizer in business battles. So I was fortunate enough to get it. You'll see I even have the festive tint applied to mine. So I was fortunate enough to get it for free back in December of 2018. I believe that was the month that it came out in, or it was released in the game. So like I said, I was able to get it for free. I believe though it retails for $399,000 though at Ammunition. So a little bit more pricey for a weapon, but I would say considering this thing doesn't take any ammo, just recharges itself, it might end up being really the cheapest weapon you ever get, because you have to take into consideration all the ammo and the amount of money you put into ammo with all your other weapons. So definitely take that into consideration, but definitely worth having in sales. And there's really 2 main reasons why this is essential in sales. The first reason, and I'm going to show you an example here, this isn't actually exactly a sale, but essentially the first reason here is sort of like a second line of defense, similar to the explosive sniper rounds. I guess also in the pump shotgun also as the explosive rounds, but it's similar to the explosive rounds. I would also use the Up and Atomizer as a second line of defense. I would say exclusively against MK2 oppressors. You can use this against other vehicles to sort of try to mess them up. Obviously, if you hit a vehicle with it, it's going to cause the player to probably lose control, but I really wouldn't use this against anything other than the MK2 oppressor. I'd say it's the best thing to use it against, but you'll see essentially here there was this player, and like I said, I wasn't doing a sale, but essentially I was this guy was just coming over. He ended up actually fighting with us. He was a little bit of a threat, but you'll see I shot him. I was able to knock him off, and that's essentially what happens if if someone comes after the MK2 oppressor, you hit them with the Up and Atomizer. It's pretty much going to knock them off instantly, likely killing them. So you definitely want to utilize it for, like I said, a reason like that against MK2 oppressors. The second reason that the Up and Atomizer is really beneficial in sales is to get sale vehicles unstuck. So before the Up and Atomizer, pretty much how most people went about getting sale vehicles unstuck. Typically you would call something like the Night Shark or the Insurgent in, something that had a lot of ramming power, and usually you would utilize something like that to get your sale vehicle unstuck. Which those worked, but to be honest, I would say the Atomizer is way more efficient and definitely just way better to use overall for a number of reasons. Because one, when you're calling in the Night Shark and the Insurgent, you have to make a phone call, you have to wait for those to spawn in. Obviously, you're taking more time, and obviously that's more of a risk to your sale vehicle because you're going to be taking more time on focusing on getting it unstuck, and obviously that really makes it easy or susceptible to an attack by another player. So in that sense, considering that calling in a vehicle takes more time, whereas the Up and Atomizer you could have it instantly. I talked about in my how to prepare for a sale video how I always like to have that automatically selected in my weapon wheels, my pistol option, so that I can easily access it in the case that I need to use it as a second line of defense against MK2 oppressors, or to get a sale vehicle unstuck. So it's a lot quicker, and also it is definitely a lot better to use overall. It's definitely as far as getting sale vehicles unstuck, it's definitely way more beneficial and way more efficient than using something like the Night Shark and the Insurgent. So definitely recommend the Up and Atomizer for, again, those two reasons. As I stated, it's a second line of defense against MK2 oppressors, and also to utilize it against getting sale vehicles unstuck. The fourth item I recommend having in GTA Online sales is the MK2 oppressor. So I talked about in my how to prepare for sale video sort of the importance of ensuring that your MK2 oppressor is not destroyed, and here is why. So essentially there are two ways to spawn the MK2 oppressor in during a sale. If you're selling as a CEO or VIP, as you just saw, essentially you're going to have to spawn it in through the interaction menu through services, and then go to terabyte, and then essentially from there you'll be able to spawn the MK2 oppressor in. So that is pretty much essentially how you're going to spawn it in if you were selling as a CEO or VIP, which you're always going to want to do if you have that option. And then secondarily, if you are selling as an MC, as an MC president, essentially you're just going to want to go in the interaction menu, go to the motorcycle club options, and then motorcycle vehicle, and then from that point you just spawn the MK2 oppressor, and it'll be a little bit quicker than spawning it in from the terabyte services, but still you're going to always want to sell as a CEO or VIP if you have that option. But essentially this is going to be your first line of defense. I kept mentioning second line of defense, and you're probably wondering, well, what the heck is a first line of defense? Well, this is the first line of defense, and here's why. So what you're seeing here is me selling a large crate warehouse during a double money in RP event a couple of months ago. I ended up getting a truck sale with 3 vehicles, and I only had 2 other friends that helped me, so we all had to drive a sale vehicle here. I was in a session with some other people, and I felt a little bit threatened. I was a little bit nervous, one, because we were selling, obviously, it was a double money RP event. It was a lot of money, in this warehouse, as well as that, you can lock on to the crate sale vehicles. So I was very worried that if something like an MK2 oppressor obviously attacked one of us, that could be very deadly. So I ended up using sort of that tactic there. I spawned in my MK2 oppressor through the services and the terabyte options, interaction menu, and you saw this one guy actually, what I was doing is I was just sort of watching over my sale vehicle as well as my other 2 friends driving. You'll see one guy pulled right up against my sale vehicles you just saw, and I ended up killing him. Of course, he was a threat there. He was getting out of his Zentorno there. I don't know what he was about to do. And you'll see here, like I said, I'm skipping around a little bit. I'm not going to show the whole sale, but later on, this guy on this player on this MK2 oppressor was sort of just lingering around my sale vehicle. And of course, I didn't want to get back in my sale vehicle because he could, if he just flies over, he can easily lock on and just start, spamming me with missiles. It's going to blow up the vehicle instantly. So I was sort of just being cautious here, keep an eye on my friends, watching him. Eventually, this guy, as you'll see, I skipped ahead. He did try to attack me. I believe he jumped off here, and I blew up his oppressor, and I accidentally joined a job. So this really messed me up here because when I came back, I didn't have my oppressor anymore. And again, this was before the Diamond Casino heist, so he was able to spawn his oppressor in very quickly. Obviously, there's a timer now, so he wouldn't have been able to do that. But you'll see here, immediately I am down to my second line of defense. I'm trying to get my up and atomizer out here. I'm down to my explosive rounds. This guy's just firing missiles at me. Luckily, I had a guy in the session you just saw there take him out. But the importance, what I'm trying to stress here is the importance of the first line of defense, because you saw how quickly I took him out with the MK2 oppressor, or at least disabled him, causing him to jump off, destroying him. Now we have a timer set into place, so if you destroy someone's MK2 oppressor, they're going to have to wait, and that can be beneficial in a sale. But you saw immediately when I was on the ground there and I was down to my second line of defense, you saw how much more vulnerable I was and how much more risk I was. I mean, that guy, those missiles were coming very close to me. That player could have hit me with any one of those, and if that player wouldn't have stepped in to help me, that guy still had, 17 missiles left. I believe he shot 3 missiles at me. The oppressor has 20. I think he just spawned it in. I could have got hit with another missile easily, and then he could have, had an open shot to destroy my sail vehicle. Luckily, that didn't happen, but the whole purpose is I'm trying to express to you the importance of taking, your first line of defense very seriously, because if you're down to your second line of defense, you're just at a much greater risk of losing your sail. But in any case, I was lucky, and I wouldn't say really lucky. I guess I was a little bit lucky with this, but I did end up getting the sail off, and made the full amount as well as a little bit of a bonus, which was awesome. And one thing I'd like to add regarding the first line of defense, when you spawn in the MK2 oppressor, especially as an MC president, make sure you do not return it to storage, because if you return it to storage, you will automatically be forced to wait the timer. And in the case that you need to use it again shortly after you just used it in a sale, and you have to wait the timer out, that's not going to be good, because again, you're automatically down to your second line of defense, and you're going to be at a much greater risk. So ensure that you don't, like I said, you really only have to worry about this if you're selling as an MC president, because you can pretty much return it to storage right from the interaction menu, whereas if you can't really do that with the terabyte services unless you call in another vehicle from your mechanic, that'll obviously return the MK2 oppressor to storage. But do keep that in mind when you were selling, because you do not want to be forced to wait the timer. Now, the fifth and final tip that I have for you regarding GTA Online sales is a pretty basic one. Most advanced players probably already apply this, but have people or other players help you with your sale. As you'll see here, I was doing a bunker sale, and I had my one friend help me. Usually I like to have at least one other person help me with the bunker sale. Due to the Doom Buggy sale, from the location of my bunker, I can complete the Doom Buggy sale with only 3 people. So usually I like to have one other person. I took a little bit more of a risk here just because of the fact that it was a double money and RP event on the bunker. So I was a little bit more willing to take a risk at obviously completing the sale, because I wanted to do this might have been the last day of the double money RP event, so I wanted to ensure that I at least got a sale off with the double money. It was worth the risks, but I do always like to have at least one other person helping me. That is something you want to keep in mind when completing GTA Online sales. There are a couple businesses, such as the import-export business and the nightclub business, that you really pretty much always want to run solo. But most of the other businesses in GTA Online, you want to have at least 1 or 2 other people helping you with that sale. And as we go throughout the series, obviously when we get to all of those individual businesses and all the sales within those businesses, and we break them all down and evaluate them, we'll talk about the recommended number of players for those sales within those businesses. But just to broadly look at this, you do on average want to have more people helping you with the sale, especially if you're selling a full business other than the nightclub or an import-export vehicle sale. Now, under any circumstances, do not just go and do a session and start inviting anybody and everybody in the session to help you with the sale. That is a risk within itself just by doing that, because you could run the risk of getting a player who maybe a beginner or a newer player that doesn't really understand the game. Typically they'll be more prone to just join random organizations. They may join your organization, have no clue what they're doing, have no clue how to complete the sale, and they may unintentionally mess up the sale, but that could very easily happen. You could also have a player that does know what they're doing, and they could just purposely and intentionally mess up your sale, just for their own sort of laugh in a sense, or just to troll you. So you obviously just don't want to go into a session and start inviting random people to help you with the sale. At the least, send them a message in the game and say, hey, can you help me with my sale, and see how they respond. That still is even a slight risk there, because you could have people that just sort of say they'll be willing to help and still troll you. What would be more recommended is obviously having a friend help you, or someone that you trust, a player that you've played with before, and that have maybe even helped you in the past with GTA Online. or another game, or even GT Online sales, someone that you trust, like I said, a friend. Those are the people you want to have helping you with the sale. Like I said, at the very least, message somebody in the session and see what they say. At least have them give you your word, but do not just start inviting, everybody in the session to try to help you. Again, that is a risk within itself just by doing that. And ultimately, just having players that you trust helping you with the sale is going to create a stronger defense line. Obviously, if you all know defense tactics such as the ones that I'm talking about in this video, you're going to have a much stronger defense line in that sale. Depending on how many players you have, you might even be able to point 1 or 2 players to just defense only. If they don't, if you obviously have enough people to drive the sale vehicles. So that also can be very beneficial, and also it ensures that you will be able to have enough people to obviously drive all the sale vehicles as well. So that is the importance of having more people, again, that you trust in a sale. And again, as we get to all the other businesses, or when we get to the businesses, each individual business with this series, we'll go into more depth on the recommended players for those sales with those businesses. Now keep in mind, even if you don't have enough players to always be able to help you with the other businesses, I did state how the import-export business as well as the nightclub business pretty much can be run solo all of the time. I'm going to show you here, this is actually my import-export business. I'm going to show you my total earnings. I've made close to $100 million, and I've done most of those sales solo. I actually recommend the import-export business as one of the first businesses for beginners to buy, and it is a great way to make money solo and sort of have enough money to establish themselves in GT Online and set up all of their businesses. And as you're seeing here, this is the nightclub. I'm logging into my computer right now inside of my nightclub, and I've made close to, my total earnings actually include sort of the legitimate side of the nightclub business as well, but with sales I've made close to $285 million, as you see, warehouse earnings. So this just sort of states that even playing solo and running these solo businesses, you can still make hundreds of millions of dollars, which is a ton of money in GT Online. You don't always have to have players be helping you with the other businesses. Just with these 2 businesses here, you could be making hundreds of millions of dollars. And yes, I do understand that my earnings were over the course of a number of years, but this just goes to show the potential that you can acquire through these businesses. So given all of that, that pretty much concludes this video, the second video or installment of the Art of Selling series. I do understand that some of the items and tips that I talked about in this video may not have been as beneficial to the more advanced players, but again, as I talked about in the beginning of the video, and I'll reinstate throughout the series, I want to ensure that no matter where you are in GT Online, no matter what kind of player you are, beginner or advanced, you can benefit from this series as a whole. But in any case, guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you found it very beneficial, and as always, have a great day.